Welcome back to the Lazy Overachiever Show. I'm your host, Naketa Ren Thigpen, always excited to be in the place. Listen, at the time of this recording, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is May. And although mental health awareness gets a whole entire month, it really should get every day and space inside your mind every single hour, because you matter and your health matters, but especially your mental health. So I just want to take a moment to remind you that it is important for you to put you first, if no one has told you that today. The tongue-in-cheek kind of play on the lazy overachiever for many of you who are new to us and are just joining is not about being lazy in the traditional sense. It's the lazy of embodying the reality that you do know what's best for you if you just listen to your body and your spirit. So lean in, embrace a little bit more laziness by trusting that inner brilliance so you can work less because you're effectively doing what you know your body, mind, and spirit is telling you is really the priority. And if you need a little support around that, just make sure that you contact us on the back end. There's all the contact information on the latter end of this entrepreneur episode, but make sure that you're choosing you first, if nothing else. So today's guest is really going to help you do that, especially as you are an entrepreneur trying to figure out how do you take all the multi-passionate, multi-hyphenate accomplishments and all the good juju that you've created in your life and your business and really kind of streamline it into a better way and a better process, because that's what this golden goose has done in her own life and with her own clients, because she's a fellow therapist. Whoop, whoop. Sorry, I'm a little biased, but I'm just saying, like, we love her. Jennifer Jakobsen is a certified mind and business coach, as well as a clinical therapist who's really helping women specifically get clarity so they can create more cash flow in their business and effectively open up more spaciousness in their life. Jennifer, welcome to the TLO. How are you today?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing fantastic. Just being in your presence makes the day a little bit brighter. So thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm excited to have you here. I am really excited, mostly because of what we were talking about in the green room, which is right in your zone of genius, of helping people get clarity so they really can trust more. Because at the Lazy Overachiever, what you and I were talking about in like our private green room conversation is a lot of the feedback that we're getting from people in this age of overwhelm. We have the beauty of AI, which is supposed to make things faster, sweeter, smoother, sleeker. But what it effectively is doing for many people, although there's so many benefits to having things like AI and efficiency tools that way, but it's also creating more thoughts, more decisions, more questions, more possibilities for people to get lost in and have more decision fatigue around where they're supposed to go next, especially if they're in this space of, you know, I'm a woman of a certain age. I'm no longer in my 20s, right? Like my kids are that age. And when you get to a certain state of life, other things take priority. Like maybe you're caregiving for an elderly parent, or your body has changed and you need to slow down and do things differently, not less necessarily in a traditional sense, but differently. And I know a lot of your work is really freeing up the space for people by taking a lot of that decision fatigue away and giving them or helping them to get to that clarity. So I would love to hear a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are today.
Oh my gosh, yeah, thank you for that. My story, I don't know how far you want me to go back. I've been around for a little bit. I've
You're
been in
not 20? What do
no,
you mean?
gosh, I'm so glad I'm not 20.
Same.
I could look a little more 20, but I'm glad I'm not 20. Yeah, I really have been just I'm kind of odd in the way that I've always known that I wanted to help women. I've always
Yeah.
known, like, since I was in high school, that I wanted to help women in some way. And so I got my bachelor's in psychology and then was advised to go into clinical social work, which I did, and got my master's degree. And so I've been a therapist for 20 plus years. We'll just say 20 plus.
20 plus looks good on you. It looks good
Yeah,
on you.
that works. Yes. And then, honestly, about, I would say 7-ish years ago, I kind of rediscovered life coaching.
Yeah.
I'd heard about it before. but I wasn't totally bought in at that time. And then I sort of rediscovered it. My kids were, older, on, a little bit more independent. And I'm like, okay, mama needs to figure out what she wants to do when she grows up again. And so I just fell madly in love with life coaching. Like, I loved therapy, but I fell in love hard with life coaching. And so, over the 7 years that I've been doing this, I kind of shifted my niche a few times, and really, like so many women during the pandemic time, went online with their businesses, and so many women have become coaches.
Yeah.
And so that is one of the things that I'm super passionate about, because, and it's not just coaches, but any like service provider who wants to make a difference. Women who want to make a difference in the lives of other people, those are my people. And I love them so much, and I want to help them become more successful, whatever that means for them. And I think in the context of what we're talking about today, it's really like, instead of working more and just hustling and doing more, it's really like getting super clear on what it is that your mission is, what's your vision, and really honing in on those things, and staying super focused. Because I think, we all want to make money, let's be honest, but you can make a ton of money and be extremely stressed out, unhappy, miserable. So I really want women to create businesses that light them up, fill them up inside, so that they are the ones who are pouring into everyone else. Because let's face it, as women, we're the ones that are kind of spending a lot of time like helping others, pouring into everyone else. But, when we find that sweet spot in our careers, when we find the thing that we just honestly would do, even if we weren't paid to do it, right?
That's right.
Like, that, I think, is where the magic lies. And so for me, like, helping coaches, helping online service providers really have the business of their dreams and make a difference and make a profit, it's like the best of all worlds. So that's my mission in life. And I think the more women out there like that, the better this world's going to be.
No, I love it. And I fully support it on every avenue, partially because I'm biased as a woman, but also I hear you fully. I think every single former, reformed, or current therapist that I've talked to that also has embraced coaching said the same thing, and their kind of starter story as well, which was like, I wasn't really sure about buying into it. And I think part of it is because, at least for me, 13 years ago when I got introduced to it, and it was a full-on introduction, like I had no definition of coaching outside of athletic coaching, right? Like athletes need multiple different types of nutrition coaches, speed coaches, whatever. I had no idea that this world existed. And when I got introduced, I was like, I don't know. I feel like coaches are trying to be like therapist light, like, right? Like, like in that way. And of course it was out of the ignorance of not knowing and understanding. It was also because of the few people that I had first met that weren't in integrity with coaching, which makes a big difference, which I'm sure you know. And it was also, right? It was also kind of a framing of my not understanding that you can love something and be in love with something very differently, but that doesn't disrespect your love. And I was coming from a space in 20 plus years of being a psychotherapist and trauma specialist at that time. I was like, I love my work and I love what I do, but I'm not in love with it. So I almost felt like I was cheating a little bit, which was part of the push away and the find all the things wrong with it. So you could, have a reason to push away. And then once obviously hiring a coach, getting some mentors and some appropriate high integrity guidance in the space, I was able to see the very clear differences between the two and the power of when you infuse your therapeutic tools with your coaching tools and whatever else you might come across, strategy, consultant, whatever along the way, can really help to break the box of how different you are in the space of coaching, especially with the work you're doing, helping women specifically have the power, or understand, not really have, because you're showing them what they already have, but understand that they have the power to live in a both and
Yeah.
seeing like you don't have to just be a mom or just be a leader or just be a CEO. You can
Yeah.
actually enjoy the process of your life. You
Yeah.
can make good money and not have created 100-hour-a-week job for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
there's ways for you to do it. So I really respect, again, I'm biased, but I really respect what you're doing, and more so the why of why you're doing it, because it's important.
Thank you. Yeah, I really believe that we have to come back to our why. Our big why is, I think it's what gets us through the ups and downs. It gets us through the hard times. It gets us through those times where we're like, wait, why am I doing this again? Oh, yes, that's why.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have to share with you, I may have stolen your idea there, because when I said that I loved therapy, but I fell in love, that might have been from you, because
Oh,
somebody said it on my podcast. It might have been you. So I might have just stolen that from you,
we're
but
just
it
sharing
resonates.
vocabulary. It's all good.
Oh, I love it, but it resonates so well, because the difference for me was that the people that I work with now, I mean, again, I love doing therapy. I still see therapy clients, here and there. But the women who I coach,
It's different.
oh, oh my gosh, yeah,
Yeah.
there's such a, I don't know, they just they're so hungry for more in their life. They want
Yeah.
so much more than just, like you said, just being a mom, being, whatever they identify with. And those ladies are the ones who, like, they just,
Hmm.
they are so passionate. And those are the ones that make the biggest difference in the world, because they have such a big why. They have such a
Yeah.
passion. And I just love being their person who can support them and help them become whatever it is that they want to become.
Yeah, no, I love that. And of course, I appreciate it, because we need more people in the space that are helpers helping the helpers, right? Like, because
Yeah.
often that's the challenge, is there's a little, not even a little, there's much shame when you're a helper and you realize that you've hit a wall, or you see
Mhm.
the wall coming at you really,
Yeah.
really
Oh, yeah.
fast and realize you need to do something. So we need you in the space. So I'm glad that you're doing it. I'm glad that you're anchored to a really strong why. And then on the other side of it, I have to ask you, like, what are you doing to make sure that you're protected in this space, right? Because you're pouring out a lot. You're giving a lot under your therapy hat, under your coaching hat, under your strategy hat, which is all very beautifully woven together. But
Yeah.
when you're in constant give and pour, how are you making sure that you refuel by, being a little intentionally selfish?
Yeah. And yeah, I think so many of us can struggle with this. And I've been around for a while, like I said, and I think for me, like, I have really gotten to know myself. Like,
Yeah.
I know when I'm going into burnout. And
Yeah.
so I think self-awareness is really key here. And for me, I mean, I have to be very self-aware. I also have to know when I need support. And what I know about myself is I need I need connection with other women, first of all. That's one that I kind of struggle with, because we get so busy, we get so, just wrapped up in our family life, wrapped up in our business life, and we forget, like, and so I am very intentional about getting together with other women, and
Yeah.
not just other coaches or other online, I go to lots of networking groups and I love those and I'm very grateful for those, but also, like, seeing my girlfriends, like going and having coffee, having happy hour, having dinner, whatever it is, like, that has become very it's become very apparent to me that fuels me, that fills
Yeah.
up my tank. Also, spending time with, and this, a lot of people can say this, spending time with your family, spending time with my husband is very important. My husband and I love our date nights, and
Yes.
so, yeah, I have to get those in. And then just all of the things that I know that just fill me up. Like getting a workout in, several times a week, really intentionally. Like I can eat crappy food all day long if I want to. So it's like intentionally getting some good things in my diet so that I'm feeling healthy. I'm feeling like I'm taking good care of myself, just kind of the basic needs in that department. And then getting coaching and getting help when you need it, getting a therapist if you are struggling, getting a coach if you're struggling. And, and again, like, it could just be because you need like that other person to kind of link arms with you and kind of walk with you, because we aren't meant to do life or business alone. We're really not. And so knowing that there's people out there for you, whether it's a paid person or just an accountability partner, somebody, maybe you have a business BFF, somebody who you can, just kind of bounce ideas off of and talk to about business, because it can be very lonely, especially if you're a solopreneur or just have, maybe a very small, staff that you're working with. I think having other people who you trust and who you can, brainstorm with, I think is really important.
Yeah, no, I love it. And to highlight a word that you use that I think a lot of people don't give enough credit to is the basic needs, right?
Yeah.
You were like, it's kind of
Yeah.
basic, but it's so powerful. It's
Yeah.
so powerful. Like basically you need to feel safe and you need to make
Yeah.
sure that you have that security and you're not
Mhm.
inundated with scarcity because you don't have someone or someone's to kind of be soundboard for you.
Yeah.
That basicness, I think, is so powerful. And on so many levels, if we could just get back to basics, we would all be
Yes.
so
Seriously.
much better.
Yeah. Yes. Drink your water, eat your veggies, right? Get enough
Yes.
sleep. That's the other thing I'm
Yes.
very good at. I'm really, really good at sleeping. I get lots of sleep.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. A friend and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago because we were away, as you know, and we just,
Yes.
had very, very full schedules. And when we were doing what we're doing, I was like, oh, this is, I was joking with her and I was like, oh, you're about to get wine, Naketa. Like, this is how Naketa acts when she had wine or no sleep because it was like, all right, what was the question? Like, I was trying to figure out things. And of course, she was teasing me. She was like, oh, I like wine, Naketa. I might have to actually get some wine in you. I was like, no. This is as far as we get with not as much sleep. But to your point, sleep is so crucial. And it allows us to function better. It allows our body to repair in the middle of the night without us trying to do anything. I love, for biased reasons, as a balance and relationship advisor, that you prioritize your date nights with your
Yeah.
man,
Oh, yes.
because that is very important and it allows you to do the overachieving without as much guilt and
Yeah.
frustration, so that when you have your quote unquote lazy moments of refueling and just laying on the couch, wiggle your toes, whatever it is that you want to do to just kind of sit and restore in your own body, that you've given to the people who matter, including the person you share a bed with, which
Yeah.
sometimes they get neglected. Many
Yeah.
times, especially for
True.
women entrepreneurs. We're like, you be all right. You'll
Yeah.
be there when when I come back from this 18-hour, project that's in my head that I got to get out. And then
Yeah.
working with someone like you who can offer clarity, you can help them have more spaciousness to have the time for date night or solo date night if they're, single and satisfied and not necessarily looking to mingle with anyone, but
Right.
really know that they still deserve space. You don't
Yeah.
have to put something on every hour of your calendar. You really
Right.
deserve the space.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that I really do besides clarity is helping people with their mindset, because sometimes when you're describing, that calendar that's just like completely booked, you don't even have like a moment in there to take a breath, right? Like sometimes our mindset is telling us like, okay, well, because I'm so busy, I'm really successful and I'm really important and I'm doing really well. But you have to take a step back and ask yourself, like, what does success actually mean to you? Because,
Yeah.
you know, it it doesn't necessarily mean like being completely busy every moment of the day and losing track of maybe the things that truly matter to you in life. And have you really taken a moment to ask yourself, like, what are those things? And how much time and effort are you spending, in those areas? So, yeah, being an overachiever is, yeah, I mean, it sometimes we get like this false gratification from that. Like we think, okay, I'm an overachiever. I am super busy, and somebody will ask you, "How are you doing?" "Oh, I'm super busy." Well, really, how are you doing?
Right.
Is busy good? Is busy how
Mm-hmm.
you want to be? Or
Mm-hmm.
would you rather, like you said, Nikita, have some more spaciousness in your life?
Yeah, that's, I'm smiling. Like you guys can't see when Jennifer's talking, you guys can't see me. So I'm like smiling and being a bobblehead with you while you're talking because you're so like on point
Uh,
with so many of these really important aspects that you're bringing to the forefront, including the loaded question of how are you doing?
yeah,
Right? Because
yeah,
there's many humans, male and female alike, who don't really know how to answer that question when you
right.
really say like, how are you? How are you doing? There's that superficial instinct. I'm good. I'm fine. Right? I'm busy. Like just something to kind of what I call those shut down sentences where it's just going to shut down the conversation. Because if someone really doesn't care and doesn't want to go further, they're going to accept you're busy as a
Mhm.
period, right? And
Mhm.
you are skilled because you have your therapeutic background as well as your coaching strategy, all of those things. So you know how to ask questions that are not invasive, but can open the door to more conversation within the context of the trust that has been created. But many people are either afraid or just not interested in saying, like, oh, and I'm just going to use dovetail your example. Well, is busy good? Is busy
Yeah,
what you want to be? Right? Like being
yeah.
able to kind of use that. But those shutdown statements that I feel like are a part of our armor, like an extension of the
Mhm.
mask that we wear,
Yeah.
is something that every human listening to this, if you don't share this episode for any other reason beyond the fact that it's fantastic and Jennifer is wonderful, beyond that, you can think of at least one person in your circle, in your ecosystem, that is using that extended armor to just kind of justify an end to the sentence because they're afraid to go deeper and
Mhm.
or they don't feel like people really care. They feel
Yeah.
like it's a burden to really
Yeah.
share
Yeah.
how are you doing, and really answer
Mhm.
that with, again, within the integrity of the trust that has been established. If you don't know these mofos, you don't owe them anything, right? Like you don't owe any explanation. But when you're in just using some of the context that you gave, Jennifer, whether it's an online networking group that you've been a part of for a while and someone asks you how you're doing, or even your really really good girlfriends, we
Mhm.
can get, especially as entrepreneurs, because you're so sensitive about your baby, which is your business, and all the little toddlers that have come out of what you've designed. you
Yeah.
you get into a space where you either don't share anything and you kind of keep it
Mhm.
very minimal, like you
Mhm.
kind of minimize your accomplishments, quite frankly, because you feel like you're being judged by other people who maybe aren't entrepreneurs or don't understand, or maybe they're so far ahead of you as far as you're
Mhm.
concerned. Or
Mhm.
you overshare as a way to compensate for where you feel you're lacking
Mhm.
confidence in, which I know is another aspect of what you
Yeah.
teach in terms of confidence building, because it's a part of clarity and mindset and all of those things for them to really tackle that pathway to cash. What is it? Clarity to cash or clarity to pathway to cash? I want to make sure I say it right.
Yeah. That's the name of my podcast too.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. But just really making sure all those lines are as clean as possible. And I
Yeah.
think it's really important for people to know there's somebody who actually wants to hear your answer.
Yeah. Truly. Yeah. And not just the surface level answer, but like really, we want to know. Like we
Right.
we want to know how you're really doing because that's why we're here. We're here to help you do better, whatever that means for you, right?
That part all day. Ah, this is so good. I could talk to you forever. So I have to ask you like kind of a stapled question
Yeah.
for you and what you're doing in the world and all the great things you have work that you're working on right now. Because again, at the time of this recording, it's May 2024. We have complete transparency at the TLO. Now that you are almost 50%. We're like, I don't know, 40%, 45% through 2024 at the time of this recording. What are you most excited about that you're also being really mindful you don't have to push, that you can just allow to pour from you, to flow from you, whatever that is in your life or your business, that doesn't have to be aggressively pushed out with 80-hour weeks and sucking up all your time and siphoning your energy, but that just really feels good for you and you're allowing it to unfold in whatever beautiful way that it does.
Yeah, what an amazing question. I love that so much. I think for me, it's just really, I don't know how else to put it except I'm just really trying to practice what I preach. I'm really trying to be an example to my clients and my prospective clients that I am actually doing the work that I teach. I'm actually working every single day on my mindset. I'm working every single day on being very clear and very confident in my business, because the more that I can do that, not only do I become a better me and more of my future self, but I also become more equipped to help my clients, because I can now, honestly say, like, I am doing exactly what I teach you to do. Because really, like, as a coach, and again, like, another reason why I love coaching so much, like, I don't necessarily have to be like a million steps ahead of you. I just need to be a few steps ahead of you, because that makes me more trustworthy, more relatable to my clients if I am just a few steps ahead and I'm really doing. I could just keep going back to practice what I preach, and it's not that I preach, but it's I really want to be the embodiment of the work that I do for my clients. I want to, because life is going to happen. Life is going to life, right? It's just going to be a roller coaster ride, and we're here for all of it, right? And I love the ups and the downs, because without the downs, the ups wouldn't be as amazing, right? So I want to do this work and really be super intentional every single day, so that I am best able to help my clients and the people. And they don't even have to be my clients. They could just be people in my world who are following me. And if they're getting a little inspiration from, my journey, I am so happy to be able to help them with that.
Yeah, I love that so much. A real person doing real things, creating real solutions and real impact.
Yeah.
What a weird idea to be
Mind blown.
real. I know, oh, mind blown. I do really appreciate when you said practice what I preach. It was moons ago, without dating either one of us, when I was very much kind of like, how you have little phrases that just kind of come up from you naturally. And it was practice what you preach, teach, and sell.
Yeah.
Because that is really important, right?
good.
And that's literally what you're doing. And that's so important. Not that you're trying to preach at people beneath you, but you're saying, this is something I'm passionate about, which is why I can sound preachy at times. Because most pastors, if they're doing it well, are passionate about whatever it is that they're preaching. And then, of course, you're a natural teacher, and you are fiscally responsible to your organization that you're creating. So you also have to sell, which is really important. I think that that's not celebrated enough, to be quite frank. The fake it till you make it is celebrated a whole lot more by the culture, the global culture, than this is real life. And if you really have something that you want real support around, let a real person help you with this in a way that takes into account your real life, whoever you are, the watcher of the Instagram story, the client, the prospective client, like you said, these are real things that are happening. And that's what I value about you, is that you're very authentic. I'm not apologizing for anything. I'm just very clearly, this is me in all my power and all my grace.
Yes.
Which I really do support.
Love about you too. You're the same. And I do think that is what we need more of in this world, right? We need more people who are real people, right? Don't fake anything. There's nothing to be gained from fakeness, and so many of my clients worry about like, what is everyone else doing? Or, I need to be perfect, or I can't put this out until it's just right. No one relates to that. Perfection is boring, and authenticity is like, embrace your weirdness, embrace every part of you, because we are all different, and we're all different in an amazing way. And that's what your clients are going to relate to. That's what they're going to buy from, is someone who is real and not a fake.
Girl, I'm really trying not to throw my bunny slipper across the room. Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. With a highlighted parentheses around and. Woo. I have so many thoughts in my head of so many beautiful ways that we can extend this conversation on air, because we could easily be here for a while. But I want to make sure that I give you spaciousness for more dating and more play in your own life and with your man. How can people connect with you?
Well, I am always on Instagram, probably a little too much on Instagram. So you can find me. You can find me there at J Jakobsen Life Coach, Jakobsen with a K. I also have a podcast, which is called Clarity to Cash. And Naketa has been on that podcast, so you got to check out her episode for sure. And yeah, I would say those are the main two ways. I have a freebie to offer your audience if they're interested. I'm sure we can link those in the show notes. Basically, that is a quiz, because quizzes are fun, and we're all about fun. And it's really just for online service providers, how they can overcome or figure out, uncover exactly what's keeping them from more clients in their business. So it's just a super fun quiz that'll give you some ideas of what might be in your way and how to get them out of the way.
Yes, look, literal clarity to cash. I'm not mad at that. You are like living and breathing your entire trademark. So that's beautiful. Jennifer, it was amazing, as always, to have a conversation with you, even this one recorded on air, but also our off-air conversations. I really do appreciate. And I'm really honestly thankful that you were able to carve out space, because I know you have a full, not booked and busy, but a full, beautiful life and schedule that you've architected to be that way. And I want to make sure that you have spaciousness to continue to enjoy it. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always fun to chat with you.
Thank you. Listen, brilliant beauties, I tell you every single time, I'm not going to bring you anyone but the most potent of potent humans. And there you go, Jennifer Jakobsen. Just saying, I did what I was supposed to do. As the young people would say, I gave what I was supposed to give. I could say Naketa out, but it would be so cheeky. Like Naketa out. Yes, I'm corny too. That's totally a part of who I am. Love it, and fold it in. Thank you again, right? Like, thank you again. I want you guys to just continue to do whatever it is that gives you joy in the smallest and most incremental way, so you can stack that higher and higher and make more spaciousness to be intentionally selfish. And the only way to do that is to embrace a little bit more lazy, so you can work less and trust your inner brilliance more. Talk to you soon.